Hey, what's up everybody? I'm out here in the world recording this video to inform people who are working class, upstanding citizens of some things that they ought to be aware of. For example, if you are someone like myself who graduated from high school, whether with a diploma or a GED, and you thought, I'm going to participate in my government. I'm going to move to the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, Maryland, what we call the sector. It's not exactly a tri-state region per se because the district is not a state. So some people in the parlance of the capital region just simply refer to it as the DMV. That's the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. If you are someone who has thought about getting involved in government, coming to the capital region, Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, Maryland, I would like to talk to you about some very serious matters and issues that can help you and that can, in some way make it so that you don't experience some of the things that I experienced when I was a young, bright-eyed, college English honor student and wanted to serve my government. Here I am out here in the world. I'm in a public place. This is being recorded outdoors, as you can see. And, if you have an issue with me smoking a cigar, I'm a grown man, 36 years old, and I apologize. This is just a man thing. Don't take it the wrong way, but this is what I do sometimes. It's not all the time, but it's sometimes. So, anyway, the point is this. Some people who have worked for government, after 15, 20 years of service, they decide to write some kind of memoir, some kind of diary, so to speak, about their experiences having dealt with government, working for the U.S. government or some form or level of our government. Now, I've traveled to a lot of places, not just the nation's capital. I used to live on the West Coast. I lived in the Midwest. I've been down south, I've been on the East Coast, and I've been outside the country. So again, this video is for people specifically who are interested in going to the East Coast of the United States and getting involved in government and civil service work, working as a civil servant, working to do something to better humanity, whether it's with the Department of Transportation, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Interior, the Department of Agriculture, what have you. That's what I want to talk about. If you want to lobby in Congress, work on Capitol Hill, if you want to be part of Congress, if you want to work for the Senate, if you want to do something in security or military, civilian work, if it's intelligence or non-intelligence related, if it has anything to do with any branch of government, if it's you want to be a police officer, you want to be a firefighter, you want to be a paramedic, work for the public health system, if you want to become a professor in the nation's capital, if you're like myself and you come from a middle-class family and you're one of, if you're a student who, like most, receive, say, financial aid, for your college, university education. 2/3, by the way, of all students in North America, including Canada, because Canada also has the financial aid system. If you're receiving some form of federal student financial aid and you are thinking about, considering, contemplating working in the nation's capital, you ought to know about some things that can get in your way if you're. It's kind of, look, it's like analogous to, say, going out to California. You're from anywhere in the world, overseas, India, China, Pakistan, Africa, any of the countries in Africa, Australia, anywhere in the world, any of the continents, Canada. You're just somebody who wants to get involved in Hollywood. You want to get involved in media. What do you have to do? You have to go to Hollywood. If you're in New York, you have to go to Hollywood. Pretty much, you could live in New York and you could get involved in film school, and theoretically, you can make movies like the Wayans brothers, in New York, and you don't have to leave New York. But really at some point you're going to find yourself being in LA, okay? So the point is that you have to go out to California. You have to pack up, you have to go out to LA, Los Angeles, Santa Monica, California, and you have to immerse yourself in that media film industry culture. It's the same with government. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're in the Midwest, if you're in the Southeast, the Southwest, the North, South, the East, wherever you are, New England states, if you want to work for the U.S. government, state Commonwealth government of Northern Virginia, Maryland, District of Columbia, you have to pack up and you have to move out to the Eastern Seaboard. If you're a financial aid student, as I've been alluding to, or you're in college, or hey, maybe you're not even a financial aid student, but you are receiving some kind of money from your family to help you in your pursuit of the happiness, okay, so that you can pursue the larger goal of serving your country, your community, then you're going to have a job, multiple jobs, and you're going to live in the highest income per capita community in the United States of America. I have some pointers for you. One of the things that you will find is, despite all the luxuries and all the luxurious nature of the nation's capital, again, there are statistics that come into play here. Northern Virginia is the highest income per capita community in the U.S. Okay? The people in Northern Virginia make more money per capita than anywhere else in the United States. The cost of living is second only to New York. So if you live in Northern Virginia, people in Northern Virginia on the average, they make about $1,700 per week. That is an actual statistic. $1,700 per week. Okay? So do the math. Round it off, $3,400, $7,500 basically dollars. So you're looking to make $90,000 to $100,000+ per year on the average if you are, university, college graduate living in Northern Virginia. And that's not the case in other parts of the United States and North America. And so you find yourself in basically Bel Air. Hollywood is a small town, and unbeknownst to the general populace, if you work in Hollywood, you don't really live in Hollywood. You live in Santa Monica. Maybe you commute all the way out to Santa Barbara. You go somewhere out of the way. You don't live in Hollywood per se. Okay, West Hollywood is but it's like you don't live in Hollywood. You live outside the scope of Hollywood. And you hear about these people that make $20 million per film and all these like millions and millions and millions of dollars, but relatively speaking, it's a small town. In Northern Virginia, in the nation's capital, what we have there is the fourth largest metropolitan area in the United States. The fourth largest metropolitan area. The traffic is crazy. It's like LA, but it's all government industry as opposed to media. And so most likely you'll find yourself working some kind of day job. The purpose of these videos is to elucidate and illustrate some of the harbingers, some of the haphazards, and some of the obstacles. I will inform you of things that you ought not to do that will help you in the long run. For instance, in Northern Virginia, since there's such a chasm, such a gulf, such a rift in the gap between the ultra wealthy and those who are not ultra wealthy, there are a lot of people who just don't want to work regular jobs at grocery stores, convenience stores, restaurants. They just don't want to because, maybe they're going to school and they're from wealthy families and their parents are like, hey, you need to get a job because we've been footing the bill the whole time and you have no real world experience. So what these young people will do is they'll go and get a job somewhere for a very limited amount of time, and it's at a company or an establishment that has a high turnover rate. They know, oh, hey, look, I've got someone coming in from McLean. I already know the pattern this student, his parents want for him or her to work here, but I can pretty much anticipate that this person isn't going to be here for too many months, too many weeks, and I'm going to have to start looking for someone else. So you always see these help wanted signs. When you walk into a grocery store in Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, It's not like the West Coast where you have 10 checkout lanes and they're all open, okay? There's one checkout lane open often and 9 others or 8 or 7 that are unoccupied. So you have 10, 15, 25 million people in line trying to check out their groceries, and there's only one person working there. If you talk to the establishment, they'll say, oh, well, we can't hire anyone, which is absolutely fallacious, and it doesn't make any sense because you see a lot of people from different countries who are trying to find jobs. They have green cards, they're naturalized citizens, they're permanent citizens, residents, and they're looking for work, but the establishment will tell you that the reason there is such a long line is that that particular store, that particular business cannot find somebody to work there. It's a fucking lie, man. I'm here to tell you it's a fucking lie. There are a lot of people who could work there. Why would the store, the restaurant, the establishment tell you that there are people who they've tried to hire who they can't hire? Why would they tell you that? Well, here's why. The reason is that in Northern Virginia, there's a history of racism, just like anywhere else in the United States, but it's a little bit different. Virginia was part of the Confederacy. It was part of the South. And it was illegal for someone of color to marry a white person. Okay? And it was called miscegenation. And after the Civil War, during the Civil War even, the North had defeated the South and made it so that the South had to comply and cooperate with the Northern forces, the Northern military, army, and basically the United States of America, because the South didn't want to have anything to do with, say, the United States. So when the North came in and said, look, we fucking won the war, you have to do what we say because you're now part of the United States whether you like it or not, they said, well, whatever. I mean, we're, whatever. And so there's this history of racism and slavery. So some people in their fucking twisted, warped, demented minds, they think that even in the 21st century, despite the fact that these things transpired, they are in some way, shape, and form going to continue to have this culture of slavery, modern day slavery. And it's shrouded. It's very covert. Sometimes it's a little less covert, it's more overt. It's a little bit more it's not as discreet. It's a little bit more open and ostensible. And you see it, and you recognize it, and you're like, what the fuck? This motherfucker thinks that he or she is a modern day slave owner driver. And that person in his or her mind also thinks that she is above the law. And what they do is they make sure that if, say, in the equation of running a business, it's obvious that there should be one or more people to close a restaurant at night, which would make everything run smoothly and operate effectively and efficiently. The person who runs that operation for himself, herself, and or a group of people like a corporation or a business entity that involves partners and so forth, they'll make sure that that one or two or more people are not present, and they won't hire anybody because they want for the system to be broken. They want to fucking enslave you and make your life a living fucking hell when they know damn well that it'd be very easy for them or that person to hire somebody else to make the machine move and flow. And they don't want to do it. They want for the fucking system to be intentionally, purposely, deliberately broken so that you have to close the restaurant and stay until 11:30, midnight and beyond, so that you have to fucking slave your ass off to close that place, and that one extra human resource that could be hired, or more people, oh no, they're not going to pay X amount of dollars per year to have another person working for that company so that everything is orderly, because that's how they keep you enslaved. You're doing more work. And that money that they could pay for that person to be employed, no, they put it in their fucking pockets. She pockets that fucking money. This is a series of videos. I want for you to watch these videos because what I'm going to do is expose these fucking bad people in the nation's capital region who run these types of rogue operations that are counter to what America's supposed to be about in the 21st century. Okay, this is an ongoing series of videos. This is just a prelude to this kind of shit that goes on in the fucking modern day society of ours here on this planet Earth. Okay, so stay tuned, pay attention, and see what I have. This is an expose.